Hey guys, today I'm going to be interrupting the regular short form weekly schedule or whatever, if you will, because if you don't know, this past weekend, this last Thursday through Sunday was Botcon 26. So I'm back, and I know this is a quick, show off what all I got, what all I did, but I don't know, I just kind of wanted to do it here today on Monday, so let's just jump right in. So I got some prints, got some boxed and sealed stuff. So yeah, enough beating around the bush. I'm gonna flip the camera around because I have some pretty big boxes and I just don't really feel like doing it here on the table. So go ahead and do that super duper quick. Okay, so got the camera all spun around. I'll first start off with the prints like I did like 2 years ago with my Botcon 2024 like recap or whatever. And this is gonna be sort of like a live stream style thing. Just gonna go with the flow. Just grab whatever's to the side of me. So we're gonna start off with the prints. So I went to all the people that had prints, all the voice actors. I did not go to, I can't remember his name. He's a comic book colorist and artist for Marvel Comics back in the 80s and 90s. I can't remember his name. I did not go to Susan Blue's booth, and I did not go to, it's John, like, Mashuna, the voice of Blur. I did not go to him. Those were three guests that were there that I just didn't go to get prints from or talk to, but I did go to Neil Ross, the voice of Springer. I went to Vince Caroli, who's the narrator of almost everything Transformers related, G1 Transformers related. I went to David Sobolov, who's the voice of Depth Charge and a couple of other like Movieverse characters, and Prime Shockwave. And Daniel Reardon. I went to him. He is the voice of Megatron and Omega Prime from RID 2001. So the first one on top of the stack that I got is Neil Ross. I tried telling him that he can write whatever he wants because, it's his voice, his characters, in my opinion. Obviously, they're Hasbro's characters, but for the most part, they're his characters. But he couldn't think of anything, so he says, I got better things to do tonight than die, because he said in one of his panels, I can't remember what one it was, I think it was the 40th anniversary panel that I went to, he said that his hand literally gets sore from writing it so much, but that was kind of funny. I like this print. I always love, like, I have the box art print from Greg Berger of Long Haul. I just love the 80s box art and everything, which I have some box art from a G1 toy that we can look at. And especially the original G1 toys. They're so cool, so inventive. And the toys can't even pull off any of the poses and everything. Springer is always a good one. Springer's a very wishy-washy toy. I don't even own it. Slag is a good one. I don't own any of these toys except for Six Shot, which I'll show off here today. I own the two Constructicons, but I just really love the way that the toys were drawn for the character art on the boxes. So if any of the voice actors or anyone at a convention has prints that have the character art, I always get it because I'm a big personal fan of the way those were drawn. The next one is Daniel Reardon. He just had some like basic prints, but just love this Megatron, this RID 2001 Megatron, and in the same vein Galvatron. Just so cool, inventive designs and inventive toys. I lost mine about 7 to 10 years ago, and I didn't think to get one there. So hopefully sometime through the rest of the year, I could get my hands on one. But he signed it. You can't really see it too much because it's in gold. But do love that. Very, very friendly, awesome guy to talk to. Neil Ross was really fun to talk to as well. Next one, I got Vince Caroli. He was a narrator, so he just had these, we'll be right back to the Transformers ones. I think he had like one different one. So I just picked my favorite character with Ultra Magnus. Very fun to talk to. Me and my brother, we were talking to him. Very, very fun. Then the final one was David Sobolov, and he didn't just do Transformers. You know, he was one of the younger, younger voice actors. So he had done a ton of other characters, especially that he told us about. And I did not know, but he did the voice of the Arbiter in Halo Wars. I've not played Halo Wars. I've only played it like once. I've played almost all the Halo games except for Halo Wars. But I love the voice of this Arbiter. I was torn between getting a Depth Charge print or this Arbiter print, but I had to get the Arbiter print because I don't know how many people actually bought the Arbiter print, but I love how he voiced the Arbiter. He said it was a lot of fun just being the mean, maniacal, like evil and violent, character of this Arbiter. And then having that different voice to Keith David, I think that's his name, the guy who voiced the Arbiter in Halos 2 and 3. But yeah, I had to get that print. But yeah, that's really it for prints and other like memorabilia type stuff. I already hung up the badge up over there with the rest of them with my other ones, and I personally, it had for each level you were, if you're like VIP, a vendor, Premium Plus, or Weekend Pass, it was one of the different Quintesson faces, which I thought was really cool. But yeah, I know in years past, I can't remember about 24, but I remember in Botcon 22, we got our names. Wait, both of them, I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly. I could just walk over there and look, but I'm not. That our names were written on them, but probably a logistical challenge, but it was still really cool. So I'll start with my unboxed things and then get into the box things, or the things that have boxes. So yeah, first thing I got, not first thing in general, I will say what I got first and whatever. First thing that I'm going to be showing off is this Horrible. If any of you guys that are watching this video remember, I did get this head at a flea market about 2 or 3 years ago. So I've been holding on to this thing, and I was able to get Horrible's body for obviously like $20 because he didn't have his head and he doesn't have any of his weapons. So I personally think that was a good deal because in total I have an $80 toy, even though the hinge, I just found this out that the hinge back here that is this like teal plastic or turquoise plastic is cracked. That kind of sucks. It's not super fun, but for $20, when it still could go for about 50 plus, being it has the headmaster, I don't really care. And really the fact that the head has been kicking around in my G1 shelf for, however long, it was just good to be able to nail it down and get him a body. So awesome. Then the last thing I did buy on Sunday, which was yesterday, I bought Six Shot. I did think about going to get Neil Ross to sign Six Shot, but I decided not to. I wanted to be able to have a print just to him. But this Six Shot is really nice. You can obviously tell some of the stickers are gone or just not put on. But of some of the G1 toys I have, he is probably one of the better condition ones. And I didn't pay a ton for him. The chrome is in very nice condition on these back fins. There is a little bit of scuffing in it, but for the most part, this toy is in really good condition. I did not know this because I don't think Shadowmaru has this itty bitty little like bar that connects the two halves. I did not know that. Unless the one on my Shadowmaru is just broken. I did not know that. But I love Six Shot, and if you know, I absolutely love and adore Shadowmaru, obviously as a character, but as a toy, that's how I was introduced to the Six Shot mold. But I adore this toy. He will definitely be getting either a full-length video, or I've played around with the idea of doing each individual vehicle mode as a short video. So I'd start with his cougar mode or whatever animal he is. I can't remember, cougar, Puma, whatever it is, and then go down the line of transformations throughout the different short videos and end with the 6-shot. I'm not super certain. At the end of this video, I'll throw out another idea with shorts and long form videos, but love this toy. Really do love it. It's just a phenomenal toy. I got this guy for $80 in the condition that he's in. You know, it's just incredible. This is a toy I would really recommend. A figure, Shadow Maru is very easy to obtain. He's about $100 to, I think, $200. $200 is like not sealed, but with his box, with most of his pieces, like he comes with little shurikens and whatnot. He is about $300 sealed, or not sealed, but boxed, and about $100 to $150 base, like I have him loose, if you will. That Great Shot is just like $400 for one that's loose, and then God knows how much for one with its box. But really recommend this mold, because in my opinion it's probably one of the best and most fun. But gotta keep moving. The first purchase I made was this guy. This is the Movie Advanced Dispensor, and this is one of the this has been a grail toy for a long time. Basically ever since the video I watched Emgo review this toy back, I can't remember when the Movie Advanced line came out, but I remember watching it, remembering how much I loved the idea of the Mountain Dew machine that came to life in the Transformers '07 movie. This was the first thing I got on Friday, and I just had to have it. There was technically 3 there. There was one sealed one other one like this, loose, and then the one that I have here. And I was not risking anything, because this has been such, I wouldn't say a grail. It's just more of, I didn't want to spend the money on a toy like this, even though I still ended up doing it this time. But I don't know. I just had to have it. I did not want to take the risk of losing out on buying this toy and being able to put it in my collection. So, first purchase, absolutely love it. It's done from the Payload mold, I'm pretty sure, from '07. But yeah, so the next, you got a little bit of a glimpse of it. So the next thing that I bought is probably the most expensive thing for what it's worth, or for its size. So to probably the few keen-eyed, knowledgeable, obscure people that might be watching this, they might know what this is. But to most of you, you probably don't know what it is. So already, to first start off before I reveal it all, this is a recolor of the Autobot Sizzle, the black muscle funny car. Mine's up there. I completely forgot to grab him before I started this video. But he's not just a red recolor. This is, well, he is a red recolor, obviously, but he is a Japanese exclusive. The black version was never released in Japan, but this version was. I think his name is something like Sparkabot. I can't remember what his name was in Japan, because they had a pretty weird names, or a lot weirder names than they did here in America. But I have never seen one of these. The only ones that I have ever seen on eBay of the Firecons and the Sparkabots have been a Flame Feather, which is almost, I think, is identical to his American counterpart. And I think it was Guzzle, which is a Cindersaurus recolor, but instead of being like pink, he's green. But other than that, I have never ever seen more of these toys on eBay or anywhere else. And of course, that was a couple of years ago that I looked, so I very well could find this toy again on eBay if I really looked. But from when I looked, those were the only 2 of these exclusive, of these Japanese or Takara versions of the Sparkbots and Firecons. And I immediately saw it. It was right next to a boxed Black Xerox and a boxed Megaplex. But this is the guy that stood out after I got done looking at those. Which was only like a couple of seconds, because I noticed it. I was probably the only person other than some people that had a ton of Japanese G1. I was probably the only other random person, like regular convention goer, that knows what this toy was. But yeah, I paid $200 for this teeny tiny little thing. The only other thing of this scale that I would have ever considered buying for that price was a sealed Warpath that I've seen at a couple of the local like toy fairs around where I live. Other than that, I've never considered buying something of this scale for that kind of money. But this toy, in my opinion, is most definitely a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I don't think, unless I go to another convention like Botcon or TFCon or go over to TF Nation in the UK, I probably will never be able to find one of these guys in a very, very long time. So I didn't really care about the price. I just had to jump on the opportunity to be able to get a toy like this. So before, you can see him peeking out right there. So me and my brother on Saturday, we did a trade-up challenge. And for anyone who doesn't know what a trade-up challenge is, you start with something that's not a ton of money, and then you work up, you trade up to something of higher value. Like you see it a lot on YouTube. I'm going to start from a paperclip. I'm going to start from a penny, and I'm going to get a car. I'm going to get a house. I'm going to get a boat. That's what a lot of people do. On YouTube, it's been done almost to death on YouTube. But it's such a novel, fun idea. I've done it a couple times with him, my brother, at the local flea market that I go to, and he threw out the idea of doing it there. It was kind of difficult because half the vendors that were there really were there to sell. They didn't want to trade. But there were some that really wanted to, and there were some that loved the idea that we were even doing it. So might as well show off what I ended on. I ended on the KFC Citizen Stack. And so far, first impressions, he's not amazing. From what I gathered of telling all the people that were interested about what I ended up with, my brother ended up with the MP11 Skywarp, which is a bit of a wishy-washy toy. I'm not a big fan of it. The way they retooled it, the way the head transforms, like the torso and the head transforms, and then those weird, how the skirts, like the, the very edges of the plane are just skirt pieces. Not a big fan of that. I much prefer the base MP11. I'm pretty sure it's MP11. But he ended up with that, the Hasbro, like Walmart Toys R Us exclusive one, and I ended with this guy. When I was telling everyone what I ended up with, there were sort of two camps. Either that's an amazing toy or that's an awful toy. And unfortunately, I kind of lean towards this kind of an awful toy. But save that for another video, because I definitely have a lot to say about this toy. And I need to spend a little bit more time with him just to figure out what all he does correctly and what he doesn't do correctly. But I started with a Henkei Silver Streak for $30, and then I went to a United Optimus Primal. Then I went to a Cryofire Scourge, which compared to what I ended up with, I probably should have left that. Cryofire Scourge. Then I went to a complete Volcanicus, the new Legacy one, the core class one. Then I went to a huge jump. I went to the Target or the exclusive Siege 10-pack of Micromasters that had Ironworks, the Powertrain retool or recolor, all those random recolors from Amazon or Target. I can't remember when it was. And then I traded to him, which I kind of should have kept that Micromaster 10-pack, but it was still good. It was still a ton of fun. If you guys ever go to a convention or a flea market or anything like that, I would really recommend with your friends, your brother, your sister, your wife, your husband, whoever you're with. It's a ton of fun to do a trade-up challenge. Obviously, because it's a Transformers realm, it was even more fun, but I love doing it at the flea market just with random things. I love tools, so love tools. Being able to do it with that is also a ton of fun. But yeah, got this guy with his box. Just not super duper amazing so far. But now we will get into my box stuff, or the things that have their boxes, and I decided to just put back in. So in Botcon 22, I bought one of my also grails of Universe Hardhead, which is a Walmart recolor of a repaint of the Universe Onslaught. And on the bottom of that box, like they typically did back in the day, they advertised other toys. And there was the Walmart exclusive Power Glide. And I have really wanted to own one, but on eBay, they're just a little bit too far out of what I want to pay for a toy like that. But today, or Saturday, I was able to get my hands on this one. It was sealed. I did open it. I wanted to be able to play with it. Got this one for $40, and that was really good because two other people at Botcon had sealed versions for $75 and $85 respectively, and I really didn't want to pay that for this toy, especially when I knew someone was selling one for $40. I got it. I'm a little bit iffy on this toy, a little bit bland. I do have the like Storm Cloud something, the black repaint from Universe. Somewhere he's missing his arms and everything is just the jet body, like the fuselage doesn't have the wings, and everything is just that centerpiece. Definitely need to spend more time with this. He doesn't. I don't know. I just need to spend more time with this. I am super duper happy that I have him to accompany my my Universe Hardhead, but he is just a little bit blah to me. But still really fun to have these Universe toys, these classic toys. This year of generations, like 2006 to like 2012, just some of the best years of Transformers, and the boxes are just phenomenal. Just those years of the Transformers were just incredible. So then finally we're able to get into some Brave stuff. I tried hard, and my last thing that I'll show off, second to last thing I'll show off, is a Brave thing. I told myself I don't have to have a Brave thing, but I kind of did, because this toy didn't quite scratch the itch. This is the Good Smile Company's 7 Changer, and I just played with it a little bit. I think I might do what I said about six shot with this toy, going through all of his modes through shorts to be able to do that, because he has 7 modes. I did go through all 7 modes, and for what it's worth, for what the original toy was trying to do, like the original toy really had a lot on its plate, and it really didn't do any of it very well. This toy obviously is trying to do the same thing. There's just so much that it really can't do a ton, but it still does pretty good. But I haven't really messed with him, haven't given him the time to really pose and everything, but ultimately he gives off a lot of the vibes of the T-Spark X Kaiser, that really doesn't try to break the mold as transformation wise, but the feel of it and the articulation really hold it together. He doesn't really feel like a figure, like a high-end figure. He feels closer to almost like the movie masterpiece, the old masterpieces to me. Don't want to talk, but like the movie masterpiece, Bone Crusher, very heavy, very solid plastic, very clicky, ratchet joints, definitely down that same vein. Has a ton more ratchet joints than the T-Spark X Kaiser. That was a little bit unfortunate to me, but I might as well throw out one of my ideas here upcoming for some videos is I would love to be able to do both. Like this toy, I could easily do a long form video and a short form video, or multiple short form videos given all of his modes, but do something like that. And a lot of the older toys I covered years ago, like Cybertron Metroplex. I might not do a full-length video over him again, but I definitely would like to do a short-form video for the people that didn't watch it, that is probably lost to time now when it comes to the algorithm and whatnot. So I think I'm going to start doing that, taking my old long-form videos or toys that I did long-form videos on and doing shorts of them, so people can see those toys again here on the channel. And with toys like this or Six Shot that have multiple modes, you know, I would like to do both, be able to do both. Obviously not back to back, like week to week, but you know, over a couple of months, do a long form video over a toy like this, and then do multiple shorts or a week's worth of shorts reviewing all the different modes. I would love to do that idea, and I think I'm going to be implementing that, because I think it'd just be fun to give toys like Cybertron Metroplex, a lot of those G1 toys, like Punch Counter Punch. I love that toy, and I would love to be able to make a short of it, because that's excuse me, that's an old video that probably isn't even circulating through the algorithm anymore, but love to be able to make a video on it. Just love to do that as an opportunity, and I think I will. So, and this is another one that pertains to the same Six Shot and Seven Changer idea, is my second to last purchase on Sunday, Super Guardian. I got this guy, I saw him on Friday, I was like, he's a toy that I didn't have to have, you know. When it came to Brave things, I was really looking for the toys that I quote-unquote needed, but I couldn't resist. I had to bring a Brave toy home. I tried to scratch the itch with Seven Changer, but it just couldn't. It couldn't scratch the Brave itch, so I had to buy this, or not had to, I didn't have to do any of this, but ultimately I had to bring him home. He was $175. I was able to get him for $150, so that's a really good deal. All the ones I've ever seen on eBay have been $200 to $250 and plus, and so yeah, really good deal. Very happy that I got this guy. Messed around with him a little bit last night. Really fun. Really do like this guy. A ton of fun. But just in that same vein, I could easily do, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4 shorts, or a full-length video, and then including the different combined modes, there's 6 shorts that I could do over these toys, and do like a long-form video over all of them at one time. Kind of sort of what I did with the Super Build Tiger compared to my KO Build Tiger. I did the KO Build Tiger video however long ago, and that's why I didn't feel like I needed to do a full-length video for the brand new authentic Super Build Tiger that I bought. And I really didn't, I felt like it'd be a disservice to the toys and to you guys if I just made a video on Drill Boy. Because I don't like it when people are like, oh, go watch that video. No, good example, Cybertron Metroplex, amazing toy, huge, holds a dear place to my heart. I'm not going to go say, hey, watch that video 4 years ago. That probably isn't very good. I would much rather be able to say, here's a short. Go watch my updated short form video on that toy. I would much prefer to be able to tell you guys that for those toys than say, hey, go watch that video that I made 100 years ago. That's sort of my idea about all that, and that's why I think I'm going to do that, because it's just be better to be able to offer that for people that, you know, don't like watching the long form videos, or just for toys that I made videos on like 5 years ago, you know. But enough of that. Just wanted to throw that in there since I have toys kind of pertaining to the topic. But I really wanted to try to get my hands on a Leo Kaiser, and I was severely overestimating how many would be for a decent price. None of them were really for a decent price. I saw two that were loose for basically 600 to 700, closer to 800 on one of them. It was like 750, I really didn't want to spend that money. Then there was one for $900. And then there was two for $1,200, and I really couldn't bring myself to spend that. But I did find some loose ones, like not loose, but the individual toys like Leo Zach, Drill Horn, all the individually boxed ones. The other two that were for $1,200 were all the gift sets. And bang! I was able to the people did not know what this toy was. They did not know what the Leo Kaiser components were. They had no clue. They thought it was a knockoff. They had no clue. But they were smart enough to put it up for $175. This is sealed right there and right there. It is sealed. They put it up for $175. I gladly paid it because the only other dang it, I can't think of his name. The only Jaguar that I have ever seen on eBay that I was currently watching, but I'm not going to anymore, was $221. He is, of all of the ones that I have found in their box or with their box, he is the cheapest, the least expensive. All the other ones are closer to $300 to $350, but for some reason no one wants Jaguar, even though he's the best one. And if any Leo Kaiser fans or just Breast Force fans are watching this video, I will fight you. He's the best one. Yeah, I bought this guy. They said $175. Even if they're going to say $200, I think I would have jumped on it. But yeah, they're suckers. I don't feel mean because you're going to a Transformers convention. They're running a huge booth. They very well could have took the time to look this up to find out that it wasn't a knockoff, that it was worth $200 instead of $175. I know you guys can call me mean, call me a swindler, call me whatever, but when you're in the moment, when you're looking at a toy of this caliber, and when you really don't know, when you really should know what this toy is. It's one thing if they didn't have any other G1 stuff or Japanese G1 stuff, but they had a ton of Japanese G1 stuff. Not a ton, but they had some Japanese G1 stuff. They had all the train bots. They had them individually and in their gift set version. They had a ton of just US G1 stuff. So that's why I don't feel bad. They could have known, they should have known, because they lost out on about $70 to $80 of value that they could have got out of me, but they didn't. But yeah, it was so fun. I didn't go to every single panel. I went to like 4 or 5, and it's just awesome. The guests were really good. Listening to their panels was really awesome. Just getting to meet and talk to people, especially with the trade up challenge. I don't really talk to people when I go to conventions. I just don't. Oh, I don't know where it's gone. I think because I gave it to my mom, she put it where she keeps all of her little Transformers. I did go through on a Friday night. I went through the like parts parties, room sales, and I bought myself the New Age Shattered Glass Grimlock, and I'm not a fan. I didn't spend a ton of time. I transformed it once, but he has the IDW head, and I typically am not a purist, but I'm just not a fan of the IDW head, especially on the G1 body. It just doesn't fit. I'm not a huge fan of it. But she liked it, so I just gave it to her. That was another thing that I got. But other than that one night, I didn't do the room parties or the room sales anymore. I just didn't want to. But it was still a ton of fun. A ton of fun. I spent a lot more money than I did in both Botcon 22 and 21. Not 21. 22 and 24, and probably Botcon 2015 put together. I most certainly did. What can I say? I finally have the financial ability to spend a bit more money and I might not be able to go next year with my National Guard schedule, so this might not be a thing next year. Hopefully, I am hoping that I'll be able to get the opportunity to go next year because it's in Chicago again, as they announced. But that's kind of what I wanted to do with this year, is I wanted to lay it all out. I wanted to get everything that I wanted, or mostly everything that I wanted. The only thing that I wanted is just to have a little bit more. Like, for how much money I spent, I kind of wish I had a couple more toys. But that's more on me. Not bartering, not trying to, negotiate a bit more. Really, this might not be a thing next year, given my scheduling and whatnot. But I don't really care, because I spent the money. I'm still really happy with what I bought. I don't know what my favorite thing is. I really do love Seven Changer. I love the Death Six Shot. Jaguar. I'm really tempted to open him. I'm really tempted to. I just don't know. But just a ton of fun. A ton of fun looking. A ton of fun buying. A ton of fun talking to people. And a ton of fun watching panels. The panels are always one of my favorite things because, a ton of people usually go to buy, and I do too, but the panels are just so fun. Listening to the way the voice actors create their characters, or, are influenced to create their characters, the way, comics are made, the way the toys are made, the way, the shows are made, just all those things, I really enjoyed that aspect of going to conventions, because don't really get that with a regular collector fair or toy fair. Sometimes, like one of the ones here in Iowa that I usually go to with my brother is called the Quadcon. They do it around Cedar Rapids, Davenport, in Iowa, in Cedar Falls, and Des Moines, or I call it Des Moines because I'm from Iowa, but a lot of you guys from outside of the state probably says Des Moines. And they do like Omaha and some places in, a couple places in Missouri, Illinois, Wisconsin. They do a lot of Midwest type stuff. Most of the time, it's mostly just like collector stuff, like anime, G.I. Joe, Transformers, just a lot of general things, and it's mostly just dealing, but their like home one, I think, in Cedar Rapids, they do a lot of, they like one year, I think 2 years ago, they got the Honky Tonk Man from WWE. They had David Vincent this past January, and I really would have loved to go to it, but it was the same weekend as Botcon, so had to say no. But just like that, I've never been to their panels. They have a couple of them, but I highly doubt they probably talk as in depth, and it's obviously not comparable to the same scope as Botcon. But once again, hopefully next year I'll be able to go to, that convention, or maybe go to TFCon. I think it'd be very cool to go to TFCon. I don't think by that time I'll be financially capable to go to TF Nation, but that's definitely, I want to go within these next 5 years, because that's just something that will be unparalleled, due to the guests that are there, the guests that they get, and just their dealer room. But I just love going to this, going to do this stuff. It's, to me, especially, it's not necessarily getting to connect with people, because I'm mostly a recluse, talk a little bit while I'm buying something, or about a certain toy or whatever that I like or hate, or that's interesting, but I don't really talk a lot. If you guys ever see me at anything, I'll probably either be brandishing a beard or a stash like this, and wearing a hat of some sort. Obviously, I've been wearing this Harbor Freight hat, so if you guys ever see me out and about, I don't care, talk to me. I don't care if you guys talk, but most of the time, I'm not the kind of guy that comes up to talk. You guys have to initiate the conversation, whether in any sort of instance. I'm just not a talker. I don't really like to run up on people and to talk their ear off. I'm just not that kind of person. But when you start, I could talk for hours. But it's just a ton of fun to just travel, to go see the places, go see Chicago. Like before we came back home to Iowa, we took a trip to Lake Superior, or one of the Great Lakes. I don't know all of them or where they all are. But took a trip to that. That was awesome. It's just awesome to see all the water and everything, how it's all blue and everything. But that was really cool, being able to see Chicago off in the distance, or maybe not Chicago, but some really tall buildings off in the distance. Just so cool to be able to see things like that. And going to do things like this are opportunities. Going to Botcon, going to TFCon, going to conventions in general are opportunities to see more of what Transformers and our nerdy stuff pertains to. You're able to see a lot more things, and I definitely will do that next year, in whatever respect or capacity, whether it's BotCon, TFCon, any MegaCon. I'd love to go to that. I know it's not specifically Transformers. I think it's more of like a Comic-Con, but I'm definitely going to take more time off work to be able to take those opportunities to see more things. Because we were in Chicago, we could have gone to see the Sears Tower, that metal bean or whatever. Would love to do that. Would love to take those opportunities, and I think I will next year. I'm not gonna make the same mistake again at this time, this year. And I'm gonna take every opportunity that I get. If I get the opportunity to go, I'm gonna take it. And if I have the opportunity to spend just as much money, if not more, I will. I'm all about opportunities, good or bad, take them. Whether it's a lesson learned or it's something gained. Opportunities are all over the place, and I would say, try to, now I'm really going off track, I need to end this, but if you guys have the opportunity to go do anything, to just take a road trip, like I'm not going to specify where it's at, but I did find a HasLab Victory Saber on the Facebook Marketplace. I think I might be messaging a guy to go get maybe this upcoming weekend, because I don't want to miss that opportunity. Opportunities are amazing. Whether you don't get that opportunity or you do get that opportunity, you should shoot for it. Shoot for it, because they're definitely worth gunning for. Take every single one you can get, because you might very well regret it in any capacity. But before I keep rambling on over stuff that is not at all pertain to BotCon or the Transformers, I'll see you next time.